Today, we're going to dive into a really fascinating clash. Not between two companies, but between two totally different ways of thinking about how to build lasting value in business.
So on one side, you've got the digital world, the one that gets all the headlines. It's all about software, moving fast, being agile. It's exciting stuff for sure, but man, is it volatile. And then on the other side, you've got the physical world. We're talking steel, rails, concrete. It's steady, it's tangible, and it's built to last for, like, generations.
And that really gets you thinking, right? We're always told that you have to disrupt, you have to innovate, that's the only way to win. But is that really the full picture? If you're thinking about building real, lasting value, something that's still there decades from now, which one is actually the smarter bet? So yeah, let's actually challenge that whole myth of constant disruption. And to do it, we're going to look at a classic old line company, the Canadian National Railway. We're going to see if a business built on heavy, maybe even boring assets might just be the ultimate defense against all the chaos in the modern market. So what is it about a century-old railway that makes it so special? Well, it all boils down to one single, powerful idea: an irreplaceable network. The company's real strength isn't just its trains, it's the massive physical infrastructure itself. And that's not just an advantage, it's a barrier that's pretty much impenetrable. At the heart of all this is a really cool economic concept called a natural monopoly. Now, this isn't about being some kind of evil monopoly. It's just a structural reality. It means the cost to even try to enter the market is so incredibly, astronomically high that it's actually inefficient or flat out impossible for anyone else to even try. And CNI is the textbook example of this. I mean, in a lot of the areas it serves, building a second rail line isn't just hard, it's physically impossible. The land is already developed. The permits just aren't available anymore. They got there first, and they're going to be the only ones, period. Just try to imagine competing with them. Seriously. First, you'd have to somehow secure a continuous strip of land stretching across an entire continent. Good luck with that. Then, you'd have to wade through a bureaucratic nightmare of permits that could literally take decades. And all of that is before you spend the billions and billions of dollars on the actual steel, tunnels, and bridges. It's a complete non-starter. It's just not going to happen. Okay, so how does this giant physical fortress actually translate into financial strength? Because this incredible moat, it isn't just some abstract idea. It leads directly to some seriously powerful market-beating numbers. Now, to really get this, there's one key number you have to know: the operating ratio. It's actually pretty simple. It just measures how much a railroad has to spend to make $1 of revenue. So, the lower that number is, the more efficient the company is. And yep, the numbers totally back this up. CNI consistently runs with a lower ratio than the rest of the industry. And we're not talking about a small difference here. This shows a deep structural cost advantage that comes from having a scale that nobody else can even touch. And all that efficiency, which is born from its physical mode, means the company just keeps more of every single dollar it makes. This directly fuels strong, predictable cash flow, and that's the lifeblood of any business. It's exactly what long-term focused investors are looking for. So this brings us right to the heart of the argument. In a world that's obsessed with the next big thing, why do some businesses seem totally immune to disruption? I mean, why can't someone just come along and build a better, faster, cheaper railroad? Think about the digital world for a second. You could have a brilliant, revolutionary app, but the technology behind it, it can almost always be copied. A competitor can just go out, hire some smart engineers, look at what you did, and rewrite your code, and probably make it even better. A digital advantage by its very nature doesn't last forever. But this is the real question, isn't it? How do you copy tens of thousands of miles of steel? How do you replicate a physical network that's literally embedded across an entire continent? The simple answer is, you don't. You just can't. And you know what? This is exactly why, sometimes, boring wins. Canadian National's greatest strength isn't that its technology is brand new. Its strength is that its core asset, the railroad itself, fundamentally does not change. All right, so let's just run through the checklist one more time. We've got irreplaceable physical infrastructure, which creates massive barriers to entry. That leads to natural monopoly characteristics and, as we saw, proven operational efficiency. And it all adds up to the ultimate defense against disruption. So for anybody out there who's looking beyond the very next tech trend, the argument here is pretty compelling. This isn't an idea built on hope or hype. It's built on cold, hard, physical reality. So I'll just leave you with this final thought. In a world that's always chasing the next fleeting innovation, maybe, just maybe, the most powerful advantage of all isn't a new idea, but a physical reality that simply cannot be replicated.